Ladies and gentlemen, I have been informed that it is that time. You've all been waiting for it, and it's here now. Send it to the main stage for Final Doom by KingDime.
All right, well, let's get straight into this. We'll do a quick couch introduction here. So we'll start on this side.
I'm Jovo.
I'm for Shock Blast.
Mattyice.
And I'm KingDime. All right, let's do a countdown here. So we'll start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Doom! All right, so you start off immediately here, Doom Guy. So first off, we grab the Berserk upgrade here, which gives a bunch of punching damage. And also head down the blue armor, and basically this first level is pretty straightforward. It's a lot of running around, a lot of punching.
Yeah, the Berserk pack's gonna multiply tenfold the damage for your punch, so you're gonna be in the range where, with a little bit of luck, we can KO imps and pinkies with one hit, usually two. We're gonna take out most of the former humans with one hit as well.
So there's actually pretty good variance there. Being able to kill both chain gunners in one hit means you don't take a lot of damage, don't have to rely on the extra health kits. And you get the chain gun now.
Yeah, and we get to conserve a lot of just standard bullet ammunition on the first level because of that as well.
Yeah, you see at the very end there, like I already took 24 damage from that chain gunner. But I'll do a quick explanation of the movement mechanics. So we've got two different types of strafing. We have basic strafing, which is SR40, and we have SR50, which makes us move even faster if we use a turn input and a strafe on input. And that allows us to move 41% faster. I actually forgot the red key here, so we're gonna have to go back and grab that. Gotta do the maps in order. There we go, got the red key. There we are. I'm gonna turn down the music here just a touch, there. So we're going back here to backtrack through all the pinkies and the specters, and that's so that we can do a major sequence break on this map to get the yellow key early.
Yeah, so you can see he's already taken quite a bit of damage, even though you know we're only in the second map of this pack here.
Come on. Ooh.
Yeah, here you see him getting blocked by monsters from below. This is related to Doom being not exactly 3D, more 2.5D. So monsters have infinite height and are impassable from above.
Like every map too that I've dealt with, like in any of the IWADs, you just get these crazy difficult sections with all the hit scanners. Because hit scan is undodgeable, there's nothing I can do to really mitigate a bunch of damage.
Yeah, and you'll see you picked up another blue armor there. So the blue armor is going to give you 50% of your damage taken out of your armor before your health. So that's going to give us a lot of leeway with how many hits we're able to take out of some of these tough hit scanners in the beginning of the maps. The Berserk pack here also used as a good free 100% health, since it's always going to up you to at least 100.
Not liking my health values here. Can get back up to 63%.
So at this point, I can talk about the history of the TNT map set. So at the time, it was made by a notable mapping team called Team TNT, which was very influential in the 90s. One member that you're going to see on the map in the next map, actually, it was Ty Halderman, who was also very notable later on for maintaining the It Games archive, which is the biggest archive of player-made maps, as well as contributing, along with a couple other people, Jim Flynn and Lee Kilev on Team TNT, to the influential Boom Sourceport. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2015, and the It Games archive has been passed on to two other members of the community, Bloodshitter and the Green Herring.
Okay, now we're getting into map 4. This was a map that was created by Ty Halderman, and it features 2 different copies of the map where you go into a teleporter later on, and there's like a different version of the map. But for some reason, the exit was put on the first location. Like, I go over a line trigger, and I open it up, and then I just backtrack, so we're already done.
And in this map, we're going to see an unusual trick that combines 2 aspects of Doom tricks. So the first is something that's called momentum preservation. So here he is trying to get into the coordinate closest to the wall, so the 0th coordinate, to develop a boost against the wall, which allows him to perform something called a key grab, where because he is moving inside the wall, the game engine tries to move him into the wall and fails, but before failing, it actually performs a check for whether he picked up any items, and in this case, he picked up a key grab in a different room behind the wall.
Yeah, and one thing you'll notice here, you know, anybody who's seen the Plutonia runs is there's a lot less of the higher health enemies in this map set in particular. You're not going to see a lot of Hell Knights or Barons or Mancubus or Arachnotrons, and that has its own challenges compared to that kind of enemy set. So we're going to have a lot more hit scanners, things that we can't really dodge.
Well, you can't dodge them, but there's a lot of random elements that we're dealing with too. So like any of these shotgunners, like if they hit me with a blast, they can do between 9 and 45 damage. Chain gunners between 5 and 15, and like all of these numbers that I'm giving out are in intervals. So they can do 5 or 10 or 15, for example. And we're gonna be returning to this hub room over and over with the reactor. So we just got the blue key. We're gonna go up to the top and subsequently get the red key also. This is a good spot for some donations, Brolix.
All right, you got it. Here is a $5 donation from Ingo J. Aeroplane, who said, "It's that time of year again, and I've never been so hyped. May the consoles bleep and nobody sleep." Well, you know, for Doom, we'll make it, may the systems bleep, right? But, and then we've got Jody Joy with a $100 donation. No comment with that, but just wanted to recognize the generosity there. Thank you for contributing to Doctors Without Borders here. Also have a $20 donation from a Shaft Book, who says, "MSF, the runners, and the staff are all so inspiring. Never stop."
So with the Cacodemons that we were dealing with there on the high ground, but they're gonna float down. Because if you recall where I picked up the blue key is we're going to return to that section and hit a final switch so that we can get to the exit. And then the Cacodemons are gonna converge on this side. We're gonna take them out. And when I talk about the reactor for the whole map, that's what it is. So we have...
Some artistic license was taken.
Yes. Got the Hell Knight following me all the way down. Let's get to the end here. This texture all around is like intended to be a window texture, but now it's a lift texture. So we're moving on into the military installation portion of TNT, starting off with the prison. And we just picked up an awesome weapon with the plasma rifle.
Yeah, the plasma rifle is basically just a really more higher damage chain gun type weapon. It has full automation, same kind of firing rate, but does significantly higher damage.
Yeah, chain gun is 5 to 15 damage, and the this way, yeah.
And the plasma rifle is 5 to 40. And at this point, you see he on the previous lift, he picked up an invulnerability sphere, which is what made the screen go white like this, and it lasts for about 30 seconds.
And in the last part, there's going to be a section of pillars that we're coming up across, but it can be tricky because if you fall off, just like that, the Spectres can get into position to block you. But we got lucky there and we were able to get to the exit. Now we have a map called Metal with metal music, and it's going to be full of metal textures.
Fortunately, we will get to hear this MIDI a few more times during this run, and it's one of the better ones in this map set, actually, I think.
Yeah, TNT features a whole new cast of MIDIs, which Plutonia did not have, which is a nice feature. Here's going to be a line def skip, so you'll see me like gingerly going around that switch, and that's going to skip some monster closets from opening up.
It wouldn't be a Doom run without Dime hitting himself with a rocket.
Yeah. No, come on. I wanted to have high health going into Stronghold on map 9, but I don't think I'm going to get that at 119% and 37, so
well,
we're going to use that.
Used a few more saves than we were hoping to here, so.
Just in case.
Fortunately, in the RTA style of Doom speedrunning, the number of saves used doesn't really matter.
Of course, for record runs, you have to not die at any point or save or load, so.
Yeah. Based on the demo recording functions of Doom, if you press the escape key at all, it ends the demo. So there's no way to save or load really.
So we picked up the blur artifact. Like if you were doing record attempts, you would skip the blur artifact. But this gigantic, I don't know what you would call this room, but it's difficult to mitigate the unavoidable damage.
Yeah, the blur artifact basically makes monsters constantly miss by up to a certain percentage of angle. And for hit scan, it is helpful because they often just don't hit you at all. But for projectile-style monsters such as cyber demons, it actually makes it much harder to dodge anything because you cannot no longer predict where they're actually going to shoot.
Yeah, depending on how well you can see the fireballs, or you might tell that some of them aren't even really aiming at Doom Guy at all.
Last little part. And then we have to do a final kind of tense rush into a few Arachnotrons. And pray that I stay at 86% health. Because I really want this going into Stronghold. Okay, 52%. We can hold out with this.
But still have armor too, which is really important.
Yeah, Stronghold is the hardest map in, I would say the hardest pure combat map in any of the IWADs. Like when you're, I can't deal with 10% health, it's just.
Yeah, this map is difficult enough that the highest difficulty level single map IL speedrun took over 10 years, I believe, to finish from the release of this map pack.
That IL came out in, it was 2010, and the release for TNT was 1996, so it's 14 years after release to finish the final demo on Nightmare, that's a lot of time.
And I believe it's just a touch under 300 enemies across the entire map. And it's all claustrophobic, close quarters.
Yeah. If you're trying to speedrun this map as an IL and kill all the enemies on Nightmare, you'll probably find that a lot of your attempts don't even get out of the first room.
Yeah, because Nightmare features respawning enemies, trying to kill everything is futile, so you kind of have to rush and hope you don't get too much damage from the hit scanners.
Not to mention on that difficulty, the AI reacts and moves much faster. So it's more difficult to even avoid hit scan damage than it is in a normal type of run.
I'm gonna send out a bunch of individual rockets to just clean out these rooms and just weaken the forces in there. Then we can run in with the plasma rifle, clear out the rest. And if you take a look behind these crates, you can see some barrels. And if I was to go all the way up, well, the barrels would block me with their infinite height. Because Doom features a rudimentary Z-axis. So with infinite height enemies, we're able to use blast damage to also hit them at an infinite height. Okay. Nice, that went well. So we can get a reset on health, get the Berserk pack. We're back to 100%. And we have 2 final pushes that we need to do. Like this map feels like an action movie to me. Just explosions everywhere. Hit this switch, which is going to allow us to get to the final staircase. Oh, man. One more.
%.
Let me out, let me out.
You want to talk about Kinetic Clothes?
Yeah, we're okay here because there's a big 75% health right at the start of this map. So we don't really have to worry about our...
And now we're going to see possibly one of the strangest and also the newest Doom tricks, which is known as an M-slide or zero press, where you can basically press switches from further away and through walls by aligning yourself kind of parallel to them and with at a specific pixel. So here you see Dime searching for that specific pixel. And for this particular one, for some reason, you have to actually walk backwards to hit it. And here you see him turn off auto run to give himself a little bit more precision on that movement, as well as the aligning the pixel.
There we go.
There we go.
Have to turn back, always run. And we have a short little map here, and you're going to see a Megasphere on a platform, and if you wanted to grab this one over here, you'd have to activate an Archfell and do an Archfell jump. But there's a secondary one on our route where we can just grab here, save ourselves a few seconds.
I think we're coming up on another slower map, so Prolix, if you can do a couple donations, that'd be great too.
Okay, I've got a few here that you might want to hear. Got a $250 donation from Bouncy Tem, who says, "Sup Dime, Bouncy here. Looking forward to another Final Doom speedrun from you. Rip and tear."
It's awesome, Bouncy. Super generous of you.
Cats777 donated $20 and said, "Greetings from Erzia. Doom!" There were about 40 O's. I'm not sure how long that actually goes for, but there you go.
That felt about right.
This seemed about right, yeah.
Here is $25 from Hermina Hildo, who said, "First time donating, who says gaming doesn't help lives. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much for chipping in. We appreciate it." A lot of first-time donors at this event already, and that's great. One more so I can throw it back to you with a question from the audience. M-Chop donated $150, said, "What's up, Dime? I pledge $150 plus $10 for each face rocket during this run. Who will join me? All hail KingDime." So maybe explain to the folks what a face rocket is if it's not obvious.
Pretty much every time I take out the rocket launcher, if I slam my rocket into a wall and destroy myself, then that is considered a face rocket. Come on, Mattyice, out of the way. Have we had a face rocket
I think
in the run?
we had a minor one on metal, but it wasn't a really bad one.
Right. Have a second reactor here, and there was a worker who got stuck and kind of mutated into a pain elemental. You'll just see this in a second.
Fortunately for us, the key card is somehow not damaged at all, so we were able to get that out of the reactor. Not really sure what they're making these things out of, because they're pretty indestructible.
Didn't have the random barrel that comes backwards. Okay, so on Steelworks, if you're going to look at the starter platform, there are line death, like special actions on it that are going to activate 4 major crushers later on in the map. That's going to be in the main hub section. And if we're fast enough, we can catch some quicker cycles, but I'm not really seeing that with my health.
Yeah, this is another map just full of hit scanners. So with the lower health, you're going to see him probably take this a little bit slower so he doesn't get shredded.
The crushers here are also particularly dangerous because they are slow crushers, which actually do 1,600 damage total. So regardless of how much health you have, you're going to die if you're stuck under it.
The one situation where you can save yourself is in E3 M4 in the original Doom. There is a crusher with an invulnerability, and there is enough time for an invulnerability to save yourself from a slow crusher, but that is the only way that you can stay alive.
Yeah, and just to add insult to injury for those crushers, they're also on a damaging floor that is 20% of your health per tick.
Just in case the crushing wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And you know, just in case that wasn't bad enough, the 20% damage sectors also have a chance to penetrate the effect of a radiation suit.
Yeah.
Which is about a 3% chance, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. We have a spider mastermind that we're going to find in the last room. See what he's doing. Oh,
yeah, and we're going to keep out the super shotgun because it has a really high chance to stun enemies like the spider mastermind that will get hit by all the pellets.
This is widely considered one of the best maps in TNT, but the exit is nonsensical in that we don't need to get keys, we don't need to press switches, we're just going for the BFG 9000, and then we just go into this corner pocket and then end the map.
Yeah, the rest of that map only really serves the purpose to get to the secret map. So there's a lot of kind of secret hunting on that map where you can go around and find a bunch of switches, and it opens up the other side of the exit, which takes you to map 31. But those maps are not needed for this speedrun, so we're just not going to do them.
And map 31 in particular is actually broken in the original version. Then they had to release an update to it afterwards. You can complete the map with an unintended skip, but there's a key missing on the regular original version, and that makes it impossible to complete it normally.
So there are like a bunch of different opinions on kind of the quality of TNT Evolution as a whole. And I was trying to think of like a way to explain it, because I believe the first 15 or so maps are excellent. But when we get into the last 15, there are some giant maps that we'll see. But so, I always feel like I'm so busy during this run. So with the original id Software, Tom Hull was sent off to go analyze like some military installations so that they could base maps on that. But they made the conclusion after seeing the final products that realism in maps was not very interesting. But in TNT, like we'll see these giant rooms with kind of few monsters, and like in Deepest Reaches, all of the caverns are very like narrow and claustrophobic and like a little bit unfun to go through.
In this map, you'll see another fairly common trick in Doom, where Doom Guy can actually walk through gaps that are the same size as him, but it is more complicated than just walking through it, because when you just try rushing through it, you don't go through. And it's a fairly complex trick with a lot of intricacies and nuance, but so I'll only talk about just this direction and without a wall. Here you have to actually align yourself with the gap. If you have a wall, you can avoid that. You can use the wall to align yourself. And because it is south,
quick.
It is easier than some other directions.
So the Kasalis who made Plutonia, well, they were also part of Team TNT, and they created all of the Plutonia maps, but they did Mill, Pharaoh, so map 18, map 31, and Heck, which is map 28. So they were kind of an integral part of this collective old school Doom community. This will be the first of 2 rocket jumps coming out. We're going to use the invulnerability so we can mitigate all of the damage. There we go, 1 to grab a soul sphere. And we're going to blow up this barrel because on the backtrack, you can have a chain gunner that just destroys the barrel in front of you and you're harmed by splash damage.
Yeah, and you saw that small structure you just ran by. We're actually going to be rocket jumping around from the back side of that to pick up the key that's in there.
Yeah, it's a pretty precise mid-air rocket jump.
Go. And we spotted the Spider Mastermind. Now we're going to get our first sighting of the hulking Cyber Demon, which will be right in our way when we're going for the exit room. But first we need to shoot this trigger to activate the switch. I'm gonna grab a few resources in the Soul Sphere and the Cell Pack, and okay.
Yep. No problem.
In a lot of textures in TNT, you see the name just like plastered all over. So this map shipping respawning, there's like a lot of crates that will run across, and every single one says TNT. And yeah, TNT.
Even the wall there, yeah.
Take out a couple monsters, and then we're gonna go into a secret area to top off our health with a Mega Sphere. Get ourselves to 200%, 200%. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to be really careful with Mangs from close range because combined 2 Mang fireballs can do 128 damage, and since they shoot 3 volleys, they can go up to 384 if you are not able to get out of the way quickly enough.
And I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to take a small break in the speed run so that we can check out some avant-garde art in Doom. We've got the beautiful TNT truck.
It's a quality truck.
Very high tech.
It's the pinnacle of pseudo-realism in Doom.
Oh boy, so we're at the OBrien Giants. Central processing and administration coming up. But at least it's got a really comfy MIDI to just kind of sit and listen to. But do you want to go through some of the history of Team TNT here, Shock?
Yeah, so since this map is gonna go on for a while, it's a good time to go into another well-known member of the Team TNT. This is Tom Mustaine. He actually contributed to 3 of the maps in this set, including map 1 actually, and he later went on to create something that was intended to be a second kind of final Doom, which was Perdition's Gate was his creation, and also he contributed to Hell to Pay. Although it wasn't accepted by id Software, it ended up being released commercially, unofficially. And then later he actually joined the Bethesda team and is currently still working on Doom 4 and Doom Eternal, I believe.
Yeah, he was on the stage E3, I think. He was on the Fallout 76 portion, if I remember.
Okay.
All right, Prolix, I think you can do some donations. We're just gonna keep on going through this long adventure exploration map.
All right, you got it. Here is Dr. Hershey with a $50 donation. They said, supporting my fellow docs that also nerd out as well. Thank you, Dr. Hershey. Robert Kruger donated $300. Appreciate it. We've got a donation of $1,000 from Adam W.
Wow.
And Adam says, thanks to KingDime for another awesome, so far, Doom run. Here's approximately $1 for every time I die doing the Evolution Map 02 pacifist record.
Amazing.
Thanks to all the SGDQ staff and runners. Looking forward to another great event. We have $100 from Zabarus, who says, thanks for bringing back some great memories with Doom. And if I could throw it back to you with a question here, $25 from Jay Zinn said, question for Doom speedrunners, with so many monsters in a given map, do you plan ahead for certain enemies you need to kill, or do you just kill anything that gets in your way during the run?
Well, we're trying to take out as few monsters as we can, but I wouldn't say there's like a extremely set route for exactly what to take out, because it depends on your resources. How much health do I have? How much ammo? Because I can't completely know like my exact health values if, you know, there's going to be chain gunners doing a bunch of damage right here, or there could be a spider mastermind that starts shooting me in this corridor. There's an archvile that could hit me.
Or all of the above.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if a monster isn't directly in the way, you try to avoid it. If it is in the way, you try to kill it. But if you don't have enough health to avoid it, then you might have to kill it anyway. And here you see the first real usage of the BFG in this run. So it works in an unusual way where the main shot blast does a lot of damage, but not nearly as much as the tracers, which are basically like kind of hit scan attacks that follow up after the main shot in the direction of the player's view, the shot where the shot fired, but from the player's perspective, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, basically what happens is when the BFG is shot, it locks in the angle at which it was shot, or like a direction. Whenever it impacts an enemy or another object, from the player's current position, the tracers go out at that angle.
Yep.
So, you know, a common use in some other custom map sets is using the BFG to shoot a wall and peek out around the wall to hit a large pack of monsters with just the tracers.
And the directions I'm going in the doors aren't just completely arbitrary. I'm trying to prevent revenants in the central section that we go in from blocking me.
And you can see on some of the walls he's running against the wall to build up some speed against it. Basically, in certain directions, specifically north and east, you actually double your speed if you run against the wall, due to just how the game basically splits up your movement in two.
Okay, now we're going back to grab the final key, the blue key, so that we can go to the second section of administration, but no worries because it goes pretty quickly. But the entire map area of the second part is larger than this first section that we're kind of traversing. So over here we get this huge green fortress, and you can see the minimap is just gigantic, but there's nothing in our way. So then we can just go here for the soul sphere. And this is intended. Like, I need to hit this trigger so that the exit wall lowers. So you see all these staircases here. Habitat has like a major issue if you're speedrunning this just on pure vanilla. Right now I'm using a source port called Crispy Doom 5.5, which has some removal of static limits. But in vanilla, you can get a viz plane overflow if you have more than 128 ceilings or flats. So this area here is prone to crashing. Okay, Prolix, you can go ahead with donations.
Nice. My favorite time of the run, personally. So Here's Mattyice chiming in with a $200 donation. And they said, hello.
Hello.
Hello to you, yeah. Falcon Horse donated $100. Appreciate it. Cody Rogers donated $5. Said, all right, chat, here's my $5. Where's yours? $500,000, here we come. And there's various other donations in here like that. I've got Tarvold with a $5 donation saying, let's start the donation train off. And yeah, if you weren't aware out there, $5 is our minimum donation amount. So thank you very much for that.
So important here that I conserve health because of a major sequence break that we're going to be doing in map 25 that was discovered. Like, it used to be a 2-minute long map, but it's being cut down to about 20 seconds if I can do this properly.
Yeah, basically this is going to be a something called a Lioness Gift. So there's a multiplayer exit on this map that is actually closes when you cross a line in the beginning of the map. Normally, if you run across it, you actually cannot skip it because of the direction of the line. But if you build up more speed with a rocket and you have the right setup, you can actually completely skip that line, and the multiplayer exit will remain open, and you'll skip the entire map.
So important question. Are rocket jumps considered face rockets?
Absolutely.
All right. Just want to be clear about that.
Yes, we got it there. So if I didn't get that trick, the wall would have closed in on me.
Here, actually, the exit was that altar in the beginning. There is a very precise, task-only way of rocketing yourself to it, but it is much too precise to perform humanly.
This is level design here. Just 3 or 4 elevators that were going down, just constantly with specters. But I'm gonna take out my chain gun, and we're gonna use this to great effect in this hallway, because each time I shoot, you'll see that it gets brighter. So it just helps me with navigation.
And there's one interesting thing that we didn't actually get to see in a previous map a couple maps ago. There's actually a second kind of damaging sector that does 20% of your health per tick. That is actually the kind of sector that you get at the end of at the end of episode 1 in classic Ultimate Doom, where when you get low enough on your health, it actually just completes the map for you. We don't use it because it essentially counts as a death exit, and you end up starting the next map with only a pistol. But for the IL, you can actually use that as a way to complete the map validly.
Well, you will start the next map with your weapons, but you'll just have very low health, and
Oh, it is?
I believe.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought it was just a death exit.
In fact, you actually
in a while, so
you actually can't be. You have to be in the sector alive with low health. You cannot death exit onto the sector with 0 health, because that will actually you'll just die. It won't trigger the level ending.
Now, everybody's favorite map is coming up after Ballistics, and I feel the map title just encapsulates everything about it perfectly. It's called Mount Pain.
I think really they were just missing a comma in the name. I mean, there's a mount, but most of it's just pain.
And back to our metal music. There's this weird maze section that you have to go through, and we need to get to the very end of it, and we're just gonna follow this along and along and along, with all of the imps hanging out here, and then we have to press a wall.
yeah, I'll be heading into a very specifically named area of this map.
So we get our second rad suit. And you can see the difficulties of strafe running when I have enemies in the way with these narrow corridors, because it essentially like blinds half my screen, like attempting to do SR50. But yeah, disaster area, obvious progression, let's go. once we get on all of these lowering platforms, this final section is going to lower with an invulnerability sphere, and I need to be careful not to go too quick, because I can skip some triggers where I can't do like future progression.
For what it's worth, Jovo, there's no face rockets when he's invulnerable because he doesn't take any damage.
Gonna make M-Trop poor by the end of this run. So this section here, it doesn't do damage to me now, but after we grab the yellow key, it'll turn into a damaging sector that does like 10% per hit. So we don't want to get too low. Then we're going to end off. We're going to jump from kind of like a small canyon, and then we'll kind of show you the mount that the map is based off of. So if you look out in the distance, we can see Mount Pain itself.
You know, a little bit of grass and some fresh rebranding. I think they could pull it off.
Probably.
So we're taking a look at this map area, and it's got 3 different separate quadrants where we're going to pick up keys, and each one is like an homage to the original Doom. So this one kind of looks like episode 3 from Ultimate Doom. And then we're going to be moving on to the second one with a design that imitates Courtyard in Doom 2. You'll see the it's a maze with these weird face textures.
Yeah, specifically these are the marble textures in the original Doom.
And then the final section, if you recall the Spirit World, in Doom 2, you'll see some parts that, like this just screams Spirit World.
Mm-hmm.
Get the Megasphere. And then once we open the final 3 doors, there's about 20 lost souls in the final room. And we can just break through that with a single rocket so that we don't need to take anything else out. Something I'd like to mention is the very first speed run of TNT was done by SDX Vile way back in the day. I think it was 1998, and he had an in-game time of 55 minutes and 24 seconds. So the time has come down quite a ways since then. The new world record was taken by Zero Master with a 37:30. He took away my 38:45. I'm kind of used to losing records to Zero Master by now. I get a record, he takes it back. You can do a few donations here, Prolux, before we get to the final, the finale.
Gotcha. Okay. Here's $20 from Deathwing Duck, who says, Doom speedruns are pure insanity and always a joy to watch. Best of luck to KingDime on TNT.
Awesome, thanks.
I have $5 here from Jex, who says, to support the runs and to challenge my friends to donate too. So thank you for trying to get something going there, Jex. We appreciate it. Every dollar, again, going directly to Doctors Without Borders during the event. We got $250 from Neo Console. Thank you very much for the generosity. And another $250 from Red Bear. No comment with that, but wow. We appreciate it. Keep it coming. That's awesome. I have a $225 donation from Pierpont Lepkin. No comment.
Okay, so in the final level, you have to memorize all of these torches so you get your 5 seconds, so good luck with that. And there's a little skip where we can go blue torch to blue torch. And if you go on any of the wrong platforms, you're teleported onto a voodoo doll, and Doom Guy instantly dies.
Yeah, voodoo doll in this case is actually a second player start, or which all other player starts other than the main one actually just become like immobile versions of the player sprite, and take damage like the player and lead to pretty weird effects if you damage them or telefrag them.
See our last Cyber Demon, but there's a monster blocking line. So if the Cyber Demon tries to go over that line, it's unable to. Then in the last section, we're going to take out our BFG because we want to knock out a bunch of Lost Souls in our direction. And on map 30, you're capable of being telefragged. So if a Lost Soul lunges at me, and it goes into the teleporter and I've just gone in, then that's going to take me out. Now we come to the weirdest icon of sin in either of Doom 2, Plutonia, or TNT. We just need to stand on this step. And so there's no like platform that you're kind of going up and down. Gonna fire some rockets in. We're gonna destroy John Romero and get ready for time.
RTA was 45-54.
That's pretty good. I'll take a 45. Like I was talking in the practice room a little bit, thinking like, oh, TNT's it's a little bit slower than Plutonia, Doom 1 and Doom 2, but just playing it right now, it's still crazy. Like everything's just going so fast. It feels like a blur. But yeah, I want to thank GDQ for allowing me to do another fun Doom run and being able to showcase it to you all. Thanks to my couch, Jovo, for Shock Blast, and Mattyice for coming out. And don't go away because we've got Outland coming up.
Thank you so much to KingDime there with that run of Final Doom, the TNT Evilution on UV Speed.